Travis Wall, you're nominated for an Emmy this year for Best Choreography for So You Think You Can Dance, and it's your fifth nomination in a row. But you started as a contestant on the show in season two. So how did that transition first happen, to becoming a choreographer for the show?
Well, I knew when I was on tour for the show, season two, that I told the producers, listen, this next couple of years, I'm really going to be working on my choreography. I really want to make it in the industry as a choreographer. I'm hoping you're going to ask me back. And, season three, I submitted for them. Season four, I submitted for them. And it wasn't until season five, they finally thought I was ready enough to come and choreograph for them. And I did. I choreographed my first routine for the season five, like halfway through the season. And then it was a huge success. And they kept asking me back. And then I wasn't nominated for my first Emmy until 2010, which was season seven. And which was, the craziest experience ever, coming from the show and then, working so hard to become a choreographer on the show and then getting recognized for that. That was a pretty cool moment. And then, I've been asked back ever since. And now I'm, a mentor on the show. And this is my fifth consecutive nomination through the show. The show has really altered and changed and shaped my life and my career. So I'm very grateful for that.
You've choreographed, lots of dances over several seasons of the show, and the show airs weekly. So of course you've got to whip the dancers into shape pretty fast. So what's the process like from beginning to end? Choreographing any one routine for the show.
Well, you don't get much time, depending on the week and how many routines they have. About probably you get maybe 6 to 7 hours. So. You try to throw out as much as possible on the contestants to see what they're capable of and what they can handle. And, you alter it around a little bit. And then you just sometimes just have to let it fly. It's like I've given you so many notes, like especially dress rehearsal, you're still coming up with notes. And it just gets a little overwhelming sometimes for the contestants. So, yeah, they kind of just tell you got to let it fly. But you don't have much time. I usually sometimes come in with an idea of what I'm going to do. I rarely come in with a fully choreographed routine because, something I'll create on my assistants or other dancers, I'll come in and I'll put that on the contestants and it just does not look good on the contestants. So for the past 3 years, I've pretty much just been coming in up and making everything up on the spot. And I feel like I've gotten the best results that way. And some of my most memorable pieces have come from that technique. So I just come in with the song and the concept, and then I just say, all right, I'm just going to create on the dancers who I have in front of me.
So, the inspiration for the routines that you come up with, does that start with a piece of music that you have, or if there's a particular theme you want to explore? Where does that inspiration?
It's actually, it changes all the time. I always said it was music. Since like day one, I hear a song and it always inspires me to create a concept to it. Last year I was actually one of the pieces I'm nominated for this year is a marriage equality piece, and I knew I wanted to, do either duet or I wanted to do a group that had two men dancing together and two women dancing together. Now the concept came first, and then the executive producer and I tried to find a song that really matched and helped the story be portrayed. And then this year I did a piece with around a ghost light. And I had the concept for a very long time, and the music came last. I finally found a piece of music that matched and portrayed the story that I wanted to. So, it normally is I find a piece of music and I go, I have to create to this song. But this year, actually, it's been a lot of concepts, and then I find the music to match.
Your nominations this year are for three dances: "Wind Beneath My Wings," and also "Wave" and "When I Go." And those dances all felt, particularly uniquely emotional to watch in their own different ways. Tell me about, the effect they had on you to choreograph them and then watch them be performed. Like, were those emotional experiences for you?
Yeah, I choreographed a lot last season, which I was very fortunate of. And when it came down to picking what was going to be in my package for Emmy submissions, we picked very strategically because, there was other dances that were extreme. Like the dances were incredible, but they didn't really have. They weren't really effective. It was beautiful to watch, but did they really mean something? And so, the men dancing together, the 7 guys, that was one of my favorite pieces I've ever choreographed on the show. Just because you would you say, I'm going to have 7 guys, and you would never know that they would dance like that, especially on So You Think You Can Dance. It was incredible. When I Go is one of my favorite songs from when I was dancing as a child growing up. Me and my dance partner actually danced to that song when I was 16. So to be able 10 years later to bring that song back onto the show and recreate to it again was really awesome. And then, like I said, the Wind Beneath My Wings piece, we've never showcased same-sex couple dancing on the show before, and it's something that I obviously always believe in, and I wanted to shed light on the situation. And for so long, people have been like, why has there never been a highlighted dance between 2 men dancing together, or a romantic dance between 2 women dancing together? And the time wasn't right for it. It was hard to do it. But if I knew if I could do it, and if I could do it tastefully, and if I could do it without, making it vulgar or being like, you're shoving this in our face, I wanted it to be just a simple shed of light that just goes, that was refreshing, and that was really beautiful to witness. So that was a surreal experience, especially because of the outreach I got afterwards, and it's the people that were just like, I can't believe you did that, and oh my God. And when I was on the show, I was fighting how to act, because I obviously was out of the closet, but I didn't know how to act on the show. So I know for like when Ricky was dancing that, Ricky was like, I mean, this is just the greatest gift you've ever given me, and I will always be able to watch this, which was the coolest experience. So.
This season on the show, you're able to take some of your experience and and turn that into being a mentor for Team Stage and the show's Team Stage versus Street season, and you're doing that in addition to still choreographing dances for the show. How has that made the experience different this year?
It has. I had no idea how it was going to go. I'll be honest. I was like, all right, well, I know I'm in charge of contestants, but honestly, I don't know what the contestants would have done without me in a way, and I don't know what I would have done without them. I care so much about them, and it's, from the dances they get into like the process of the show, and if they're not really being shown the right way, like, I want every contestant to do as well as they can. And now we're to the point where like, I want to win the show. Like, I want one of my contestants to win, and they want to win. And it's just like, especially that I get to choreograph on them, and we really become a team, and we really work together. And they've helped me grow as a choreographer. At the same time, they have grown like tremendous amounts in dancing, and how they've opened up as people. And it's really been a beautiful thing to witness. And you don't understand how much time I really spend with these guys all week. And so you just get to see it on Monday for 2 hours, but like, we've been working all week on these things, and I've gotten to know them. And now that we just get down to the wire, it's just we're really relying on each other here. And I could not be more proud of how they've come so far.
And you've had, of course, now there are only 8 contestants left at this point, and but we started with 20 when we were doing the live shows, 10 on Team Stage, and what is that like, trying to balance them all, trying to give them all time and give them all your attention over the course of just a single week?
It's hard. I mean, you can't play. You try not to play favorites, but you take everyone's journey for what it is, and you help them out. And every contestant gets the same amount of attention. It's whether the contestant takes in everything you're saying, or if they really start to take in the notes that judges have given them. The ones who are supposed to win the show are starting to stay around, and the real ones that are supposed to shine are starting to shine. So, like I said, at the top 8, I said, if I looked at the top 20 and I said this would have been my top 4 in Stage, I definitely probably would have picked it back then. At the time, it was really hard to pick, but now I can definitely see why all 4 of them are still here and why they're my top 4 stage dancers.
It's interesting, as a choreographer and now as a mentor, you sort of have the contestants' lives in your hands in a way, because we've seen a certain routine can make or break a dancer in the competition some weeks. So do you feel more pressure in a way as a choreographer, or do you think it was more pressure when you were a contestant?
Okay, for me, like, performing on stage, I get very anxious and I get very stressed out, and like the feeling in my stomach before I go on stage is not fun. And especially when there's a camera and you're going to be not just performing in front of 3,000 people in a theater, but you're performing in front of millions of people. And it's live. It's not taped. So that feeling, to me, there's a lot of pressure when it comes to that. Now, as a choreographer, there's a lot of responsibility. And I feel like that's where the pressure comes in. But as far as like the pressure of just being able to like pull out a performance out of your butt as a dancer, that pressure is second to none.
It's interesting. So you think you can dance, and also Dancing with the Stars. They've brought in the last 10 years so much attention to the art form of dancing that wasn't so much that we didn't have so much before, but in very different ways. And you have worked on both shows. How do those experiences compare to each other?
The two shows,
Hmm.
it's incredible. They actually started at the same time. Dancing with the Stars. They're two different, well-oiled machines. It's like, Dancing with the Stars is bringing in celebrities and things, and it was mostly ballroom. And I definitely think So You Think You Can Dance. The exposure of contemporary dance and hip hop, that has been on our show has influenced their show to open up their minds to other kind of dance that they can get the celebrities to do. Um, the thing about So You Think You Can Dance is it exposes real, natural, unseen talent. It brings in contestants and kids who have worked and trained their whole lives. And Dancing with the Stars does the thing where they try to get a celebrity to dance. So it's really, I know obviously a lot of viewers go to there, but the talent and the routines that we put out every week, every summer, is extraordinary, and it has given an opportunity for me and all the other dancers on the show to go on and do extraordinary things. And the fact that the show has given that platform to a dancer. When you sign up for dance, you don't sign up for this. Back in the day, it was you're going to be dancing behind Janet Jackson. You're going to be in the chorus of a Broadway show, and not literally going and play. People know your name, and people look forward to seeing your work and recognize your work. That is extraordinary, and no other show will probably ever create that.
This past week on So You Think You Can Dance, last night, Edson Juarez was eliminated, and you had actually choreographed a couple of numbers for him, including the last one he performed, which got a huge reaction. It's nice to have that be the last impression a dancer gets to give, but is it also sweet to sort of see him go, especially after that performance?
It's what sucks about the one show a week is because now everything's judged on the week before. So when there was two shows, we would do our show, and the next day we'd find out the results, and then we'd start a brand new week. And now it's like you're starting a brand new week, and all the results from last week are still lingering. So I could not be more proud of him for getting this far. I don't think he thought he was going to get this far, and then once he saw that he could have, he was so excited to make top 10. I know he's excited to go on tour, and he went out with a bang last night, and I was very proud of him. The thing is, too, if he would have stayed around, that routine might have, knocked out Jim. That routine might have knocked out Haley or Gabby from making top 6. So, I'm very happy that he made it as far as he did. And, Derek's very lucky again to be saved 3 weeks in a row. And so that's why I didn't know Edson was going home, because I felt like Derek's been the bottom 3 or 4 weeks in a row, and Edson hadn't been. So I thought Derek was going home, but when they said Edson, I was just like, hey, and that's what, that's from here on, it's going to be like this. No, not that person. And then you just realize that this is the game. This is what happens. Everyone's great at this point. And so, but listen, he went out on the highest note he could have gone out with. And just thankful that it wasn't a routine like, oh, that wasn't great, Edson, and then he's gone. You know what I mean? He went out with, well, oh, we wanted to see more from him. So you always want the audience wanting more.
Having being there and watching the contestants you're mentoring be in that position that you've been in before, waiting for results, not knowing what's going to happen, does that almost make you as anxious as you were when you went through it yourself?
Absolutely, because you can put yourself in their shoes. Like I've been in that position plenty of times. I was in the bottom like 3 or 4 times. Yeah, you have to realize that the outcome is out of your hands, but they're still like, oh God, what are you gonna say? What are those? You try to hear like the first syllable, what she's gonna say on her lips. Like you're trying to like, it's like what is she gonna say? It is very nerve wracking, and you feel for them. So you definitely you understand what they're going through.
At the Emmys, So You Think You Can Dance has had a pretty strong track record over the years, especially in the choreography category. It's won 8 times, including actually one for a Mia Michaels dance that you performed yourself as a contestant. How would it feel, to join that company if you were to win this year?
It's incredible. Those people who have won in the past are some of my teachers and mentors. And first time I ever took Mia Michaels class when I was 7 years old. So I have a long history with these people, and obviously to be recognized is one thing, but to actually be able to take home the trophy, and for it to have for the show to have a full circle. When Kelly Clarkson won her first Grammy, American Idol had that thing where we produce the talent and then the talent wins. And the fact that with the show, for me to be a contestant and then to be brought back as a choreographer and be nominated for how many times I have been, and then to maybe this year, maybe next year, who knows, to win, it'll be a full wraparound moment. And I mean, it would just be incredible.
And 2 years ago, when you were nominated, that was actually the year that the nominated choreographies actually put together an interpretive dance for the Emmy show, and the category was announced on during the main telecast. What was that process like, working with your fellow nominees on that big dance routine for the Emmys that year?
It was. I want to actually plug in. I'm sorry, my computer's like 2 seconds from dying. Sorry. I'm like, where's an outlet? All right, let me go over here. Actually, it was incredible. We had like nappy tabs, and it was Mandy Moore, and they really head up the entire thing. It was incredible what the concept that we all came up with, and thank God for their direction, because they really guided us the whole way through. And it was awesome with Derek and Sonia, and I'm trying to think who else was that year. Yeah, it was Mandy, Sonia, Nappy Tabs, and Derek. And it was so cool to be performing with Neil Patrick Harris in front of everybody, and for the first time for choreography to be on the primetime Emmys, and at the same time, to create a number for it too. So it was surreal standing up there in front of everybody, and all the stars and all the TV shows that I watch. I'm a huge TV fan. I'm a huge movie fan. I still geek out really bad in front of celebrities and stars. I just why am I in the same room with them? This is crazy. And I say some things I shouldn't sometimes, like, oh my God, I love this movie. Terrible geek, but it was incredible.
And working with so many different people on that number, that itself must have been quite a different experience from when you're just working on it with dancers on So You Think You Can Dance.
Yeah, I mean, it was like I said, Nappy Tabs and Mandy Moore, they were incredible. And every section was delegated. Everybody had their own thing, and then we worked together on just how it flowed out. And then we had Raj Kapoor, who was really helping us from the technical aspect. It was a lot of fun, and a lot of pressure because it had never been done before, and the Academy was taking a risk with us and putting us into prime time. But I think it paid off really well, and I was really excited. I got to represent Game of Thrones because that's my all-time favorite TV show, and that was pretty cool.
Having made your career as a dancer, what do you think of the lasting impact of shows like So You Think You Can Dance and Dancing with the Stars and Best Dance Crew and the advent of those shows, not just for television, but for your profession as a whole?
I've been teaching on a convention and around the country since I was 16 years old. And because of the exposure of these shows, there's so many more kids dancing. And not only that, the level of talent has been completely risen. The bar has been raised because they are seeing what on these TV shows, these certain types of numbers, and they're like, I want to do this, or this move's been done, or this is the choreography of the year, or this is the trend. And, it's much more exposable to all the kids across the United States, training. And just like you look at the talent on season 2 and then the talent on season 12, the capacity of what the dancers can do is completely different. I mean, the choreography that we were given on season 2 is nothing like the choreography and all the stuff that I even asked the contestants to do. Everything has been upped, and it really has changed the game. And dance keeps evolving, and things keep getting harder. And yeah, it's awesome.
Well, I want to congratulate you again on the Emmy nomination this year, and best of luck with that. And you've got a lot to think about also with the rest of the season of So You Think You Can Dance.
I'm hoping. Team Street's been in the lead a couple weeks, but I think we're getting down to it, and I definitely think I have a possibility of taking this thing home. Hopefully, both of them. Hopefully, the team stage winning So You Think and the Emmy. We'll see. Who knows? But the hard work is still there.
All right. Well, best of luck on that, and thank you so much for talking to me today.
Awesome. Thank you so much.